Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Dulac doesn't think Aaron Rodgers' situation has anything to do with TJ Watt extension delay. The Pittsburgh Steelers' two major national narratives surrounding Aaron Rodgers and TJ Watt have nothing to do with one another. That is the view of Jerry Dulac, the most prominent Steelers reporter for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. With the team waiting for Rodgers to sign a contract and attempting to sign Watt to an extension, some have wondered if there is an intersection point between the two. The thinking is that, with the Steelers unsure whether they will need money for Rodgers, they are slow-walking Watt's extension. Most estimate that Rodgers would take roughly $30 million to sign. If he doesn't quite hit the mark, Watt's extension should be in the vicinity of $40 million APY. But there is no correlation between the two situations with Rodgers and Watt for the Steelers, Dulac suggests. What they are offering Rodgers and what they will pay TJ are miles apart. I don't think a Rodgers signing has anything to do with what they will do with TJ, he wrote in a recent chat. It was Mark Kaboly of the Pat McAfee Show who first speculated there may be a connection between the two. They want to see what Rodgers is going to get, he said of the Steelers, and whatever is left, they might say, okay, TJ, what? This is it. That is, of course, ridiculous, because there are 1,001 ways to structure contracts around a salary cap. The Steelers wouldn't offer TJ Watt less over a multi-year extension because they need to accommodate a mid-level quarterback contract. Rest assured, the Steelers can afford to sign Aaron Rodgers and extend TJ Watt. Even if many fans don't want them to do either of those things. The Steelers rarely do this type of business with extensions in April, we should acknowledge. That what isn't already locked up through 2028 or thereabouts isn't exactly a local scandal, but rather business as usual. As for Rodgers, the unusual is business as usual where he is concerned. According to reports, the Steelers have had an offer on the table for him for weeks. Indications are his delay in signing has nothing to do with the contract itself. It is true that the Steelers don't like to juggle multiple situations simultaneously, and Rodgers is a flaming bowling pin. Juggling him isn't easy, but then again, at this point, they're just sitting around waiting. It's annoying, but not particularly time-consuming, I would imagine. As far as what goes, it's premature to call anything a hold-up because they ordinarily don't do extensions this early. They should, and should have in this case, but that doesn't indicate a departure from their norms. If anything is delaying an extension for TJ Watt, it's Myles Garrett, and not Aaron Rodgers. It was Garrett's disproportionate $40 million APY deal that has complicated all subsequent extensions for edge rushers. The Steelers already ceded ground on the guaranteed money front, and they were previously willing to make him the highest-paid player at his position. But the high bar has jumped about 42% in just 4 short years, which is ridiculous and obscene. Aaron Rodgers' ridiculousness is a separate entity unto itself. Ex-GM likes idea of Steelers trading to number 10 with Bears. Though the Pittsburgh Steelers seem more inclined to trade down and acquire draft capital lost in the DK Metcalf trade, former NFL General Manager Mike Tannenbaum believes the team could be making an aggressive move up the boards instead. Targeting Colorado QB Shedeur Sanders, Tannenbaum thinks Pittsburgh could move from number 21 to number 10 in a draft day deal with the Chicago Bears, even if the Steelers land Aaron Rodgers. An outcome more dubious by the day. Do you want to win for today and develop for tomorrow? Tannenbaum told WTE's Andrew Stockey in a Wednesday interview. I look for a trade to me was Pittsburgh coming up from 21 to the Bears at 10 if Shedeur Sanders is still there. Get Shedeur into your program. Try to go as far as you can with Aaron Rodgers this year and know you have his successor already in your program. The Steelers have traded with the Bears before. In 2022, Pittsburgh sent them W.R. Chase Claypool. Ahead of the 2024 season, Chicago dealt QB Justin Fields. Sanders' draft stock is one of the draft's biggest wild cards and more interesting storylines. the New York Giants could still take him at number 3, though insiders believe it's more likely they will trade up for him should he slide next Thursday night. The New Orleans Saints are the favorite to take him, but there's a prevailing wisdom they will pass, setting up the chance for Sanders to slide. Pittsburgh could serve as Sanders' backstop. Such a trade would be similar to what the Steelers did in 2019, making a deal with the Denver Broncos to move from number 20 to number 10 and selecting Michigan LB Devin Bush. In that trade, Pittsburgh gave up number 20, their second-round pick, number 52, and a 2020 third-round selection. A hefty price to pay and a move that didn't pan out. Bush was a bust who lasted just 4 seasons. Still, that shouldn't deter Pittsburgh from being aggressive if they truly believe Sanders is the answer. He could sit behind a veteran like Rodgers for a season, ready to take the baton and give Pittsburgh clarity going into 2026. Otherwise, they could enter another offseason with a new and uncertain quarterback situation. That would be by far their best situation at quarterback since Ben left. Steelers could bolster offseason roster with these Week 3 UFL stars. The United Football League's offenses had a tough time this past weekend. It was hard to locate some standouts on the offensive side of the ball. It was a sloppy weekend of football that saw some low-scoring affairs. Some teams once considered favorites were humbled, while others started to turn their seasons around. The Pittsburgh Steelers should be on watch. Week 3 of the UFL saw some outstanding defensive play. Some players produced monster stat lines, but there were too many to list. Manny Wilkins and Jacob Saylors fell back from their early MVP chase, but every good football player has a bad outing once in a while. The defenses controlled almost everything, and the UFL should be excited about some possible emerging stars. The Pittsburgh Steelers love defense, and they got a close look at that in Week 3. The Houston Roughnecks battle with the Memphis Showboats in Week 3 was a slugfest. Both defenses created havoc, which created a lackluster atmosphere on offense. Several members of the Roughnecks defense deserved accolades for their performances. Some honorable mentions include Marvin Moody and JT Tyler. No one on the Houston defense had a better game in Week 3 than Leon O'Neal Jr. He produced 8 tackles for solo, a tackle for loss, 1 interception, and a pass breakup. He was all over the field and showed up in big moments. O'Neal was a big piece in the Roughnecks' narrow 18-17 victory over Memphis. Pittsburgh would love to sign the veteran safety if he keeps up this production. Finding a standout on offense in the United Football League was tedious. Both Wilkins struggled with 3 interceptions, but Saylors did produce great numbers as a receiver coming out of the backfield. Those two remain in the MVP conversation, but Bryce Perkins is working his way into the mix. He is a risk-it-all type of player, but he keeps producing. Perkins is an interesting quarterback since he has been out of football since 2022 before joining the Michigan Panthers last season. He has a quality arm and creates dynamic plays with his legs. His Week 3 performance saw him produce 193 passing yards, an interception, complemented by 30 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. If the Steelers need a quarterback from the UFL, Perkins could be a nice fit. And you fan? What do you think about Brecy Perkins' situation? Write to us in the comments.